My hair looks like crap.
I hope you guys heard that. She's just complaining about her hair.
Sorry.
Dennis here.
Chrissy.
Muddy Water Search and Recovery. And Jen and Tamara and Catfish. Hope y'all are doing well.
God, look how poofy it is.
In just 1 minute to live, he'll be late. Typically, yes. I can't argue that.
Yeah.
But guys, hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for joining us on the live tonight. Here in a bit, we're going to get into human trafficking awareness. There is a lot going on with that.
Hey, Dan.
But going to start tonight with some sad news. We got word tonight that Joni Wilcox, if you remember, she was missing from the Kansas City, Kansas area. She has been located deceased. So our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to her family.
Yeah, that was a shocker, too. When Megan was reading it to me, I thought, no, that can't be the same one. And sure enough, it was her. So
we were getting so many reports of people that believed they were seeing her.
And they probably were. It's just, but yeah, they did find her deceased. So.
And hey, Mark, how you doing? And Joanne.
Tamara wants to know. Oh, I thought she said no sound. Tamara says, Bobby Kennedy, why do they call you Catfish?
I have seen the pictures to prove why they call him Catfish.
Yeah.
That is a catfisherman right there.
Now, how old was she again? Do you remember?
I don't.
She was an older lady, like 40s, 50s,
in fact,
I think.
If you want to do that, I'll grab it.
Yeah. Well, Jen, I used to dive and recover boats underwater. They say I swim like a catfish. I also catch 100-pound catfish. Dan, he catches minnows. Okay, so as Denny said, we're going to be talking about human trafficking tonight. There's quite a bit about this. So Denny gets caught up here. Okay. I don't know how well the pictures will come out, but this is Joni. Hopefully you guys can see her. She was missing from Kansas City, Kansas, went missing November 8th of 2022. Let's see. She was last seen, this is what it said, in the vicinity of North Washington High School area in Kansas City, wrapped in a brown blanket. She was in need of medication and whatnot. But yeah, they did find her deceased. So horrible. Poor thing. Goodness. Okay. So yeah, catches minnows. Did you see that?
Boy, if that's a minnow.
Those are big minnows.
With Dan then.
What did that say? Dan's just jealous he can't catch them. But out of a big store.
Oh, man, Dan, that was a lot of information. I am still going through all of that. And again, Dan and Catfish, we're in contact with a lot. They've been such a huge help on a lot of these cases, digging into them. Catfish, with his previous experience, sharing his knowledge.
Yes, very smart, very knowledgeable. Absolutely.
And Jennifer, we can't leave Jennifer out. All of the work that she has done has been incredible as well. Yeah. And guys, Alex will be joining us live here shortly, and we'll bring him up when he comes on here. And we have another person who's a new member of Muddy Waters.
Yep.
That if he's available, I send him the link. If he's available, he'll pop on. We'll bring him up and introduce him when he gets on here. Oh my goodness.
Hi, Missy.
It's about time you made it back, girl.
All right, let's get started here. Okay, as Denny said, as I said earlier, we are going to be talking about human trafficking. I'm not sure if you're, if you're up, what do I want to say? I'm not sure if you know the different types of trafficking. There it is. 3 most common types: human trafficking, sex trafficking. Oh, there's more than 3. I'm sorry.
No, 3 different types of human trafficking.
Okay, sex trafficking, forced labor, and debt bondage. So, hi, Miss Natasha.
And Natasha does excellent work on cases as well.
Oh, yeah. Missy. She's had a lot going on lately. I hear you. Who hasn't, right? All right. So those are the 3 types of trafficking. Some examples of people who might be vulnerable for trafficking, and anybody can really be vulnerable to it, but there are certain type of things that these people look for. And some of these are have an unstable living condition, have previously experienced other forms of violence, such as sexual abuse or domestic violence. They even have, oh yeah, Dan, that's right. They do. They'll put the body parts on like the black market, and yeah. Have run away or involved in the juvenile justice or child welfare system. Some can be undocumented immigrants. You're facing poverty or economic, I cannot say that word, economic need. Have a caregiver or family member who has substance abuse issue, are addicted to drugs and alcohol. There's nothing that states that's it's not for like a particular race or nationality, gender. No, but none of them care.
No.
They just, if you're there and I mean, yeah. So
yeah, they're not picky with that. If they have any kind of target, especially what they consider an easy target, which is a vulnerable person,
what?
They are going.
What? Okay. Here we go. Okay. I had a little pain because I just had a wisdom tooth come in, and then on Friday I had, oh, that's lovely.
Wow.
So you're probably feeling real good, aren't you? Okay. Okay. All right. I'll let you pick up on that one. He can't even read it. Okay. How traffickers lure people in. Stories become weapons in the hands of human traffickers. Tales of romantic, everlasting love, or about good jobs and fair wages, just over the horizon here. Sometimes the stories themselves raise red flags. Other times, traffickers or potential traffickers may raise red flags during recruitment. I mean, let's see. There are so many, and people are not, it doesn't bother them how they go about it either. They can be so cruel, but they're in there for one reason, one purpose.
Right.
Off the top of your head, I mean, have you heard of anything like this kind of stuff that have actually been trafficking rings?
There has been multiple rings taken down the last couple of years, and it's across the nation, across the world.
Yeah.
It's a worldwide issue.
And the one that gets me, and I don't know if you guys remember, but last year, I think is when we talked about it. Remember when during the Super Bowls and whatnot?
Yeah.
How did that go again? Like
the Super Bowl itself is the biggest weekend of trafficking, and the numbers take an incredible spike. In fact, Alex is getting the numbers of how many people are missing where the Super Bowl is going to take place.
I think it's,
And then a week after, he's going to go back in and check and see what the numbers are at that point.
And I know you're probably going, okay, what does the Super Bowl have to do with it? But think about it. That's the busiest place at that time. Easy targets. I mean, anybody. And I mean, we're not trying to scare you and saying, well, don't ever go back to a game because you just never know. But no, that's where they target people out the worst.
See, and a lot of those big events, yes, you're going to have them taking people,
Yeah.
but this is where they're setting up shop
Yeah.
and getting people to
Yeah.
come in. And
because you let your guard down a little bit. You know, you're at a game, you're having a good time. Seeing how it is the Super Bowl, it's going to be a lot bigger, and that's your greatest chance.
And the NFL draft is
that's
Kansas
another
City
one
this
too.
year.
Oh, yeah. The draft is going to be in Kansas City. So right there, that's another one as well.
So we've got local news is already reporting on it. As far as St. Joe, they're getting measures in place to combat human trafficking while this is going on.
That's horrible. We have to make sure the human trafficking is already, that's horrible. When they take them down, they won't remove the people from missing person stats to protect their victims.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, that's the other thing. You go to any kind of game like that, you always bring your family, whether it be kids or, you know, whatever. It's horrible. Okay. Can you read?
Believe it or not, Southeast Missouri, where I'm at, there is a lot of this trafficking that occurs, but is overlooked and ignored because of the main area, but it's substance and motivated and downright sad.
It is. It's horrible.
And it's normally in areas you would least expect it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why they probably do it, because you wouldn't think otherwise. Goodness. There are a few situations that might raise concerns. A would-be employee refuses to give workers a signed contract. Hi, Alex. And ask them to sign a contract in a language they can't read. A would-be employee collects fees from a potential worker on the opportunity to work in a particular job. A friend, family member, coworker, or student is nearly showered with gifts or money, or otherwise becomes involved in an overwhelming, fast-moving, and asymmetric large difference in groups or financial status. So in other words, it's like a romance. They want to start up a romance, and obviously, you know, no. Okay. Family, friend, student, frequent runaway, and maybe staying with someone who is not their parent or guardian. A family member, coworker, develop a relationship that seems too close with someone they know solely on social media. Family member, friend, whatnot, shows signs of abuse. Offered a job opportunity that seems too good to be true. Recruited for an opportunity that requires them to move far away, but the recruiter or prospective employer avoids answering their questions, or just, you know, give detailed information about the job.
Seeing Dan mentions here, it bothers me because even judges have been brought down from trafficking.
I know, that's the hard part.
Yeah. What they do is take and move a person from one person to the next. Another reason why it's overlooked.
Yep.
You see a girl with one guy one week, and the next week she's dumb, and some with two other guys. That's how the trafficking occurs where she's at.
So it's kind of one of those, you know. Hey, Damien.
Yeah, even Disney employees.
Did you? Yeah, I just read that. Disney? Well, that's great. My oldest is getting ready to go to Disney World. Thanks.
That wasn't too awful long ago.
I know. Thank you. Recognizing labor trafficking. It includes situations where men, women, and children are forced to work because of debt, immigration status, threats, and violence. Keeping victims isolated physically or emotionally is a key method of control in most labor trafficking situations. But that does not mean you never cross paths with someone who's experiencing trafficking. That's the bad part.
See, at this point, most areas, most people know of at least one person that has been a
Unfortunately,
victim
yeah.
of some type of trafficking.
I mean, off the top of your head, can you remember how many cases we have that are?
We have about a dozen cases right now that trafficking is a very high possibility.
All right, Missy. Take care, honey. Get better.
And it didn't mean to say dumb. I meant to say done. And that's what I thought she meant to say. And I'd already read it wrong
Whoops. Oh, and Dan says it was the one in Florida. Yeah, that's where she's going. It's for her 18th birthday. So thanks. Yeah.
Don't you feel old?
Shut up. Okay. All right. You want to read the next one? Or can you read the next one?
I can't.
Denny's printer is on its last leg with the ink. And so we're like having to go like this to read it. So we apologize now.
And Dan says
yeah.
part of him thinks Summer was trafficked.
Oh, yeah.
And
A lot of it, I mean, the more and more you get into Summer's case, the more it seems to be heading that way because I hate to think otherwise, honestly. But
it's one of those, I'm not seeing a good
yeah
outcome in Summer's case either way.
I just wish we had some word on her because how long has it been now? I mean, it's been forever and we haven't heard a thing and it kills me. So. We're right here. We're past that one.
See, I can't even read it to tell that.
Yeah.
I got to get new ink.
Okay. I know. The reason I asked him to do it is because I'm like, I can't read properly, apparently. So sorry. Someone may be experiencing labor trafficking or exploitation if they feel pressured by their employer to stay on the job or situation, even though they want to leave, owe money to an employer or recruiter or not being paid what they were promised, do not have control of their passport or other identity documents. I'm telling you. Are living and working in isolated conditions, largely cut off from the interaction of others, appears to be monitored by another person when talking or interacting with others. They're being threatened by their boss with deportation or other harm. They work in dangerous conditions without proper safety gear training, blah, blah, are living in a dangerous, overcrowded, or inhumane conditions provided by an employer. Boy, it's horrible. Goodness.
See, and with the labor trafficking, a lot of people like to believe that only happens in third world countries or in China or Mexico, places like that.
Yeah.
But that actually happens here in the United States.
Oh, yeah. And see, Dan says almost 25% of missing people, unfortunately, are victims of trafficking. So, and I mean, it's horrible. It just amazes me how big the numbers are.
Yeah.
So.
And every year they are continuously rising.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there have been so many busts that we were talking about just a bit ago. And with all the busts and the huge numbers they've taken down, you would think you would start to see at least a dent in it.
Yeah.
But the numbers are still growing.
Joanne says yesterday was little Summer's 7th birthday. And Natasha says we've been dealing with Summer's case for 2 years now. 2 years and nothing. God, it's just kind of scary to think about.
And every place that I've had in mind that needed searched for Summer, I've been able to find that other teams, I believe it was Texas EquiSearch that had went in for a while, and then law enforcement, I've been able to find where they have gone in and cleared those areas already.
Really? Jen says, isn't there suspect labor trafficking in California or the pot fields that popped up? Seriously?
Yeah.
Dan says Department of Justice are finally taking it seriously. I wondered how long it was going to take or what it needed to be at before they did. So, wow.
And Catfish, I've been to the Wells property and searching, and I still need to go back for more clues.
Well, I would think by now they'd have all the clues. If it had anything to do with them, they'd have it all cleaned up by now.
See,
But that's just my thought.
And with Dan, that starts making you question trafficking.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Alex is on.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. We just got home from dinner. Tammy will be here in just a second. So, how's everything going this evening?
Not
bad.
Good.
Hey.
Hey, okay, Diver's on. How you doing, man?
Natasha, it used to be prostitution ring, and now it's basically renamed as a human trafficking. That is so true.
Yeah.
So, which page are we on your?
We are on the second page, very bottom.
I printed it off, and I thought, wow, the printer printed it off like 3 or 4 times, and then I realized it was 8 pages long.
Yeah, there's quite a bit there.
So, I had printed off some other stuff too that, some stuff that we could possibly read, but I don't know where we're at on talking. So,
No, we were just finishing up. They were talking about Summer, how there might be maybe she's in trafficking as well.
that could be a possibility.
Yeah.
Crossed my mind for sure.
Yeah. Now we're getting ready to talk about recognizing sex trafficking. Do you want to go ahead and read that one, Alex?
Well,
Tammy?
real
sorry.
quick, with OK Diver and Dan's comment, I've seen your videos on the cars. They have located several vehicles and getting them pulled out and just doing
Awesome.
incredible work.
Awesome.
And are those videos on YouTube? I haven't seen them yet. Are they on YouTube or on Facebook? Because guys, you're going to want to check out his videos on that.
Joanne, for everyone they bust, 5 more pop up. Yep.
Yeah. And there was a video that we recently saw that had to do with trafficking, and the law enforcement were chasing them. Vehicle loses control, goes up an embankment, goes airborne, crashes onto the highway. They get up. First, they pull out, I believe it was a 12-year-old boy. Then they pulled out an illegal immigrant. And then they pulled out the 15-year-old driver. The 15-year-old and the 12-year-old were actually lured into helping the traffickers off of Facebook, because the minors get a lesser sentence than if they had adults doing this and got caught.
And see, that's the thing. A lot of them are forced into doing it and will be punished like they knew what they were doing. Yeah. That's what kills me.
And OK Diver, there's a live on my YouTube, but there's more on my Facebook page. So guys, make sure to check out OK Diver, doing really good work.
Dan, hi Tammy. Had to ask Dennis if it was you that sent the request. I wasn't sure. What? Look at Tammy's face. What?
What'd I do?
Yeah. Did you send him a request?
Who?
Dan.
I think I did.
Okay. Then that's what he was asking. Okay, then.
I really because it came across my friend thing, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yep. He said on Facebook. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Alex, again, if you want to go ahead and start reading the bottom there, recognizing sex trafficking.
Either
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Or whoever. Doesn't matter.
Well, Tammy doesn't have her glasses, so she can't read.
Sorry.
My printer inks about
Oh yeah,
out, and
it's
I
horrible.
can't read it.
Yeah.
Okay, so recognizing sex trafficking. Sex trafficking occurs when individuals who are made to perform commercial sex through the use of force, fraud, or coercing. Any child under 18 who is involved in commercial sex is legally a victim of trafficking, regardless of whether there is a third party involved. Someone may be experiencing sex trafficking if they want to stop participating in commercial sex but feel scared or unable to leave the situation, disclose that they were reluctant to engage in commercial sex but that someone pressured them into it, live where they work or are transported by guards between home and workplace, are children who live with or are dependent on a family member with a substance use problem or who is abusive, have a pimp or manager in the commercial sex industry, work in an industry where it may be common to be pressured into performing sex acts for money, such as strip clubs, illicit cantina, go-go bars, I guess I stapled it. I can't read this first word, but have a controlling parent, guardian, romantic partner, or sponsor who will not allow them to meet. I got to rip my staple out. Meet or speak with anyone alone or who monitors their movements, spending, or communications. Sex trafficking in the United States, or in sex trafficking in the United States. One study from the Department of Health and Human Services estimated the number between 240,000 and 325,000, while a report from the University of Pennsylvania put it between 100,000 and 300,000. Very interesting.
That is
Wow.
a large number.
With increased demand for manual labor, sex for hire, and other services around major sporting events, increases in reported human trafficking around the Super Bowl, World Series, and World Cup, among other events, are evident. So can I throw a comment in here real
Yeah.
quick?
Oh,
Go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is that I had discussed with Dennis earlier. I had discussed it with Tammy earlier. There's a connection. There's enough documentation that does kind of put it out there that this kind of stuff does happen. So I had discussed with Dennis and Tammy about looking into the state of Arizona this week. And then as we go into Super Bowl weekend, basically looking at the statistics and the numbers of people that are missing right now, see if it does change as we go into Super Bowl weekend, and then see if it changes the day of, the day after, and then the following week to see if a bunch of people end up being reported missing.
Yeah.
Try to look at it and see if there is an actual spike, since the Super Bowl game will be in town in the state of Arizona. I guess I don't know which town is it in. Which
I
town
don't
is
know.
the game being held in?
You'd think we would.
Oh, wow.
Anyway,
Tempe,
Yeah,
Arizona.
it's a good idea.
We got
Tempe, Arizona.
we got Taylor with us. She's behind the camera.
She's behind the scenes.
So she's. Can you look up and see where the Super Bowl is actually being held?
See, my phone's in the other room.
she's looking it up.
What? Arizona is where the Super Bowl is being held.
Where?
Glendale.
Glendale. Okay.
That's right.
So just by looking statistically at the website, and I already did a little snooping into where Arizona lists all their missing people. Just to get an idea of what's going on, and being that we're actually discussing this tonight and being so close to the Super Bowl, we look into this. And, we can also go back and look at other events and look at the dates of missing people because, if, our audience watches the other shows that I do on the Kansas and Missouri missing people, we can knock it down to a certain day of the week, a date, and we can look at, sporting events and see if something did happen. So to continue on, with increased demand for manual labor, sex for hire, and other services around major sporting events, increases in reported human trafficking around the Super Bowl, World Series, World Cup, and among other events are evident. I can't pronounce that word, but Harry Jimenez, retired deputy agent in charge at DHS, was instrumental in successful sting operations during the Super Bowl in Houston in February of 2017. So right there, that tells us that, they do look into this. They are watching these, sporting events with the amount of people that is brought into towns and, in an interview with Special Agent Jimenez, he stated that all major sporting events, particularly the Super Bowl, have a large increase in trafficking. He added that these stables groups of trafficking victims are under the control of a system traveling from all major cities to the host site due to the demand being so high. During the DHS stings, the agent began surveillance several days before the event and concluded during the tailgating festivities that led up to the big game. According to Jimenez, I apologize, large sporting events including I can't say that word, collegiate, how you say it?
Collegiate.
Collegiate.
So I apologize, are the largest efforts of movement in young victims within the U.S. Most of these victims are both male and female U.S. citizens between the ages of 13 and 16. In order to successfully identify victims, law enforcement began efforts with nonprofit groups around the location of events. They work with industries likely to see an uptick in illicit activities: hotels, rest stops, massage parlors, modeling agencies, lingerie retailers, and adult entertainment. They staff on trafficking red flag in particular, and to break into here, Tammy did bring this up tonight as we were talking about, is there a possible way to go to hotel management and tell them what's going on?
Yes.
And to give them a heads up that this could possibly be going on. But, I kind of threw something back at her too that, well, what if the hotel people, the management, is part of this? And,
Yeah.
I would say that not all of them are by any means. I would think that some of them
And they could be.
have to be getting some type of kickback or something to be turning a blind eye to it.
But not all of them. You can't tell me every single hotel, nice exclusive hotel, is going to be involved.
Well, yeah.
So it's just it's at least trying. you know, and just probably statistic, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep some things that they can look for. I mean, it's quite obvious when you walk in with you have a 50-year-old man with a 14-year-old little girl, you can tell a difference, but, you know, just remind them that, you know, don't leave
turn
a
a
blind
blind eye
eye.
to it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and law enforcement has come out many times and said they would rather get the call of a concerned citizen about something they're seeing that doesn't feel right, and it turning out being everything's okay,
Yeah.
nothing's wrong, than they would for somebody not to report that and somebody is being trafficked.
I mean, it's one of those, don't be nervous about it. If something, the littlest thing doesn't look right to you, don't think, oh, well, you know, it's just that little bit. Everything's fine. No, if that is bothering you, call.
That's
what they are there for.
That's exactly right.
So it continues on to say they train the staff on trafficking red flag indicators, particularly in hotels, to identify what does not look normal, such as an older male accompanying young females, like Tammy just brought up, or no trash pickup or clean towels requested, signifying they never leave a room. The DHS also provides stickers with the trafficking hotline phone number to be placed on hotel toiletries and restrooms, since this may be the only time the victim is alone.
That's true. I love that idea that they put that in there.
I pull up stuff. I don't know if it's already been talked about, but the National Human Trafficking Hotline phone number is 1-888-373-7888. And that, once again, is the National Human Trafficking Hotline phone number.
And we also do have that number down in the video description tonight as well.
Okay.
I think that it would be a wonderful idea to have a crew of people that were advocating for this type of thing and hand out these cards. It's real. It's happening. So what if we offend somebody? Well, what if we save somebody's life? I mean, you know, I think eventually, you know, it would be a really good thing. I know I've talked about our church that we attend. You know, they do an event that raises money for sex trafficking just right here in Kansas City.
Oh my goodness.
People realize it's happening right behind your back, you know, every single day. And when an event like a football game, an event like a Super Bowl, it's everywhere. And it's people that probably you would be just appalled to find out who is doing these kind of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
But anyway.
All right.
Jen says we have a hotel in Rosemont, Illinois, that the hotel is suspected in organ trafficking. About 2 years ago, there was a mysterious death of Kanika Martin. No arrests were ever made. Wow. That bothers me. That would be organ trafficking. Oh my goodness.
Wow. That's crazy. But I believe that's a pretty that does happen.
Normal. Oh.
I even think they've made a couple movies that deal with the black market stuff, where people were abducted and they woke up and they only had one kidney or one lung or something. I can't remember the name of it, but these people were losing organs. And what was the other one? There was one where somebody, if I can't remember the name of it, but I'm not sure why, but he woke up and his legs were removed. And
oh my goodness.
Something else had happened where he woke up and he was in a motel room and stuff.
I was that's at work. We're allowed to listen to Spotify and I listen to a lot of podcasts. And I remember I read one or listened to one the other day. This woman was in the hotel bar and she lured this, this guy that was coming in to stay for business or whatever. She got him drunk, slipped him a pill in his drink and the whole 9 yards, got him so out of his mind. She took him upstairs. They thought, he thought he was going to have a good old time with her. Next thing he knows, he's blacked out, wakes up, and he's laying in a bathtub full of ice.
Oh my
He's
God.
missing like 3 organs, main organs, like a kidney, like, I don't know. They were trying to get his liver out, but they did a sloppy job on it. I mean, it was horrible.
Wow. That's
I don't know how he woke up, but he did. But yeah.
that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
I mean, for real, that makes you, the good old days of going out and having fun makes you want to stay at home if you're single.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. All right, here we go. According to the U.S. State Department, the following are additional human trafficking red flags. Common work and living conditions. The individuals in question is not free to leave or come and go as he or she wishes, is under 18 and is providing commercial sex acts, is in the commercial sex industry and has a pimp/manager, is unpaid, paid very little, or paid only through tips, works excessively long and or unusual hours, is not allowed breaks or suffers under unusual restrictions at work, owes a large debt and is unable to pay it off, was recruited through false promises concerning the nature and conditions of his or her work, is subject to high security measures in work and or living conditions, etc., opaque windows, boarded up windows, bars on windows, barbed wire, security cameras. Poor mental health or abnormal behavior, is fearful, anxious, depressed, submissive, tense, or nervous/paranoid. Exhibits unusual, fearful, or anxious behavior after bringing up law enforcement. Avoids eye contact. Poor physical health. Lacks health care. Appears malnourished. Shows signs of physical and or sexual abuse, physical restraint, confinement, or torture. Lack of control. Has few or no personal possessions. Is not in control of his or her own money, financial records, or bank account. Is not in control of his or her own identification documents, ID or passport. Is not allowed or able to speak for themselves. A third party may insist on being present and or translating. Other. Claims to be just visiting and inability to clarify where he or she is staying address. Lack of knowledge of whereabouts and or does not know what city he or she is in. Has lost their sense of time. Has numerous inconsistencies in his or her story. That's
so many things to that.
Yeah.
Goodness.
That makes you. That would make you question a lot of people, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, these things that they're reporting and stuff. Yeah, that makes you question a lot of things that you see. Very much so. According to a report by the U.S. Department of State, the U.S. is compliant with a global anti-trafficking However, they state that the U.S. is a source, transit, and destination country for men, women, and children, forced labor, debt bondage, or forced prostitution. It is no secret that the U.S. continues to be a large contributor in the demand to bring the supply of trafficked persons into the country. Victims are often U.S. citizens, children, and teens who lack a social safety net and have been rescued by someone who turns around and traffics them for labor and or sex. Human trafficking is not an isolated problem in large cities. The DHS reports make it clear that it is in every community, in one's own backyard, and in plain sight.
Yeah.
Do we need to catch back up on comments here?
No.
Hey, Dan, you have a good night, man.
Yeah, good night, Dan.
Good night, Dan. Good night, Bobby.
Oh, Bobby's going?
I don't know. I'm just telling him good night.
Okay. Natasha says, I'm going to look and see, but when everyone was on COVID lockdown, I don't think there were as many cases occurred, but I'm really going to look real quick. Okay. I missed what that was about. I'm sorry.
On the number of
yeah. Let's see. What else? There was something else somebody said. Oh, Bobby said, a lot of trafficking human remains are from hospitals. Okay. Which are leaving in codes of what law can't do is follow code movement on human remains black market codes. Okay.
Huh.
Bobby ain't going nowhere. All right. Social media and other websites have been both a positive and negative tool in the effort to stop what is that? Human trafficking. While they have helped take many traffickers and victims off the streets, they have also made trafficking easier. Law enforcement and citizens must be that much more diligent and looking and watching for red flags. Go ahead, Alex.
Human trafficking is one of the more horrific illicit activities monitored by financial institutions, and one of the most important and difficult to detect from suspicious activity. There are more specific red flags related to potential human trafficking that anti-money laundering monitoring systems should detect, including constant use of cash with multiple cash withdrawals and transfers in small amounts to avoid identification or reporting requirements. I'll make a comment here on this. I don't know if anybody's noticed here lately, but if anybody, I'll give an example. Let's give an example. We're going to use Bobby. So Bobby here has a boat. Bobby is here by me, and Bobby goes to the bank because Bobby sold his boat, and Bobby has a handful of cash that now they want to know exactly where this money has came from. And if
when you make a deposit.
And if you have proof. So a couple months ago, I sold my dump trailer, and I went to the bank, and they had a new lady at the bank who I had not, I have not had a transaction with this lady. And she asked me, she said, where did you get this money from? And I was like, what difference does it make?
They have to, it's because you just never know.
And she would not deposit it until I spoke with the manager and told them. And the manager come over and they're like, hey, Alex, we just want to talk to you. I'm like, what? And they're like, we need to know where you got this money from. I'm like, what difference does it make? And they're like, well, we just need to know now. It's the law. And I sold one of my trailers. And they said, do you have a bill of sale? And I'm like, no, I don't have a bill of sale on me, but that's where I got it from. And then they let me deposit. So has anybody else had any type of, has anybody else dealt with that where they live? I mean, is anybody else sold an item and went to deposit cash if they were paid in cash, and the banks are now like, where'd you get this from? You got proof? I mean,
Well, I got a little something. I used to work customer service at Walmart. And one of the things they teach you is about gift cards. Okay. I know you're probably going, okay, gift cards. Okay. If a customer comes in and wants to purchase 12 or 13 gift cards of different amounts, if I remember correctly, we cannot do that. We're not allowed to do that because we don't know where it's going. We don't know what it's for. And we had someone come in, and I'm not going to go into detail for privacy issues, but we had someone that was secretly sending money to an organization that way.
oh, wow.
And I wasn't the one that had the cards and did it. Co-workers of mine, I mean, we caught on immediately. We did. But they made it sound so easy. Like, oh, this is for family. This one's going to go to this. We literally had to ask them who, what, when, where, and why. We have to. For that much for that much money, those gift cards like that. And it's really up to us to go yes or no. We can't sell you these gift cards because we don't know where they're going. But it was going to an organization. And unfortunately, I can't tell you of what, but yeah.
I know the bank that we use, if you go to withdraw money,
Yeah.
they want to know, especially if
Yeah.
it's over a few $100s, why are you taking this out? What are
Right.
you doing with it?
The way the world is nowadays, they have to know, because if something happens and it's that money, unfortunately, that could probably reflect on the bank and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, it's a sad day for our world's
Max, right. Max says that's an automatic red flag on gift cards now. It is. I no longer work for Walmart, but every now and then if I go in there and I go to customer service and I see these people with gift cards, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, where's this going? Because there's been there's been some we would say, okay, no problem. That's fine. But when you're buying 12 or 13 and you're putting, I don't know, 500, 600, $700 on each. Yeah. Then doesn't sound right. And we've had customers get very upset with us. But that's how it goes. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Back to it.
Okay.
High volume of airline and hotel expenses, including excessive use of travel agencies, use of multiple bank accounts and credit cards, as well as multiple identities with common addresses, use of shell companies, falsified identity documents, or not providing beneficial ownership information. That was a hard one to say for me. A lifestyle that does not match the customer/member's known profile. Relationships with known or suspected criminals. High velocity cash deposits high velocity cash deposits to ATM withdrawals or automated clearing houses, HCH wire transactions. High volume of fast food or red box movie purchases.
Are you kidding? That one is in there? Oh my goodness. Wow.
I mean, let's be honest. Who still uses Redbox? Really?
Yeah.
She's different.
Anyway.
Oh, it's nice.
Well, I'll be honest. I switched over a couple months ago. So when like Netflix came out and Netflix would send DVDs to you, I used to have that long time ago. And then
There's nothing wrong with Redbox, okay?
Oh, I'm not saying that. But then I switched to Redbox.
Yeah.
And through talking with friends and stuff, I had Amazon Prime, and I would watch stuff. So I saw a movie that was only on Netflix, and I'm like, wow, I really want to watch that. And I can tell you what, I'm a diehard Netflix person now. That's pretty much
Oh, yeah.
watch it. Just because, I think it's 23 or $24 a month, I think.
Yeah.
And I used to go.
It's gone up. It used to only be like $7.
$10 and you'd get 3 movies a week, DVD, all this. But I got to the point where I'm like, man, this is I can watch everything I want, and now that I'm using a full-blown smart TV, I can watch anything I want, and it's not even really worth honestly having cable no more, besides you just watching the news on cable. But okay, back to it. I'm sorry, I got off track. No proof of a illicit business behind banking operations. Some other warning signs that an individual may be being trafficked. Physical abuse such as burn marks, bruises, or cuts. Unexplained absences from class. Sexualized behavior. Overly tired in class. Withdrawn. Depressed. Distracted, or checked out. Brags about making or having lots of money.
You want to do this one? Can you read it? Can't read what the printer wrote.
Class is going. You and Dennis and Tammy need to get some.
No, he can read it. It's there, but the printer is the ink is really bad, so it's hard to read. So
I'll make up for not reading in high school. 10 causes of human trafficking.
huh?
Alert keeps going off. I don't know if everybody's hearing that or not. We're having
What?
lots going on right now.
It was cutting out.
Oh,
for
yeah.
A minute too.
10 causes of human trafficking. The United Nations define human trafficking as the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of people through force, fraud, or deception with the aim of exploiting them for profit. It exists in almost every industry, including domestic work, agricultural, mining, fishing, factory work, and commercial sex work. Victims of human trafficking can also be forced into marriage and armed conflict. Victims may be paid, they often aren't, but their wages are so low they are essentially slaves. Why does human trafficking exist? Understand the roots of trafficking can help the world address it. Here are 10 of the primary causes. Number 1, poverty. Number 2, a lack of education. Number 3, the demand for cheap labor / sex. Number 4, a lack of human rights protections. Number 5, a lack of legitimate economic opportunities. Number 6, cultural factors. Number 7, conflict and natural disasters. Number 8, a lack of safe migration options. Number 10, profit. Top 5 states in the country with the highest human trafficking case counts are California, Texas, Florida, Michigan, and Ohio. California constantly has the highest number of human trafficking rates in the United States, with 1,507 cases reported in 2019. 1,118 of these cases were sex trafficking cases, 158 were labor trafficking, and 69 were both sex and labor. The remaining cases were not specified. Most of the sex trafficking cases reported in California were illicit massage and spa businesses and hotel or motel based. Of these cases reported, 1,290 were female, 149 were male, and 10 were gender minorities. This is followed by Texas with 1,080 cases, and Florida with 896 cases, and New York with 454 cases. These 4 states with the highest human trafficking rates have the highest population in, I'm turning the page, and I got to tear a page off because my staple job is terrible. And I can't read the top line. I apologize. Is that the right page?
Is he even doing?
Yeah. U.S., which can explain why their number of cases are significantly higher than other states' very high immigration populations. This combined with agriculture creates prime environments for forced labor. While every city experiences some extent of human trafficking, there are particular cities where this crime is more rampant due to the factors such as population, location, and social factors. Here are the top 10 U.S. cities with the highest rates of human trafficking according to the Human Trafficking Hotlines 7 through 2007 through 12/31/2016 report. Washington, D.C. One of the cities with the highest rates of human trafficking is Washington, D.C. In 2018, an analyst of trafficking statistics in D.C. was prepared by Charles S. L. Robinson, MA/MSIS with the District of Columbia Statistical Analysis Center. It explains what human trafficking looks like in the D.C. as follows. According to local law enforcement officials and prosecutors who were interviewed, most of the human trafficking cases in the district involve sex trafficking, where victims are lured by their traffickers through various methods, including social media, and or coerced into the commercial sex industry. Victims responded to ads in a newspaper to work for massage parlors, but instead they were coerced into performing sexual acts in addition to or in lien of providing massage services. Traffickers may solicit prospective buyers through such means as residential brothels on the street, and strip clubs, or advertising online through websites.
And Lisa brings up a good point here. The statistics do not reflect the undocumented children. So that is true, and that would make these numbers so much higher.
Yeah. I mean, we all know, statistically, I think more than not, nothing is 100% on true numbers. I think it's way off, honestly. Okay.
Well, that's just the known. The known. What about the unknown?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, up next is Atlanta, Georgia. Because Atlanta, Georgia has the second highest rate of human trafficking in the United States, Georgia government officials have been doing everything they can to, 1, crack down on perpetrators using a statewide human trafficking prosecution unit, and 2, raise awareness by encouraging Georgia residents to take part in human trafficking awareness training. So yeah, I mean, I would think that in this day and age that this should be
That should be something that you go when you go through training. It should be something that a lot of training is done online. If you're hired, you go through training and they want you to sit on the computer for a couple hours and go through their training documents. I
Yeah.
think it should be added. I think we should fight to get it added.
yeah. Up next,
We're on Orlando, Florida.
according to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, Florida currently ranks third and highest in the nation for human trafficking cases. Thankfully, organizations like Bikers Against Trafficking and Catholic Charities of Central Florida, which operate a human trafficking task force, are making efforts to are making efforts to combat human trafficking in Florida. Up next is Las Vegas, Nevada. It should come to no surprise that Las Vegas, Nevada is one of the cities with the highest human trafficking rates in the country. To learn more about human trafficking in Las Vegas and the ways that you can help, check out the organizations like Signs of Hope, the Shade Tree, the Cupcake Girls, Safe House, the Embracing Project, Dress for Success Southern Nevada, Olive Crest, and Juvenile Justice Impact. Up next is Sacramento, California. According to California consistently has the highest human trafficking reports in the country, with Sacramento County being targeted by human traffickers because of its proximity to larger cities, according to State Senator Dr. Richard Pan's office. Up next is St. Louis, Missouri. According to the Polaris Project, the National Human Trafficking Hotline took 438 calls from Missouri, identified 423 victims, identified 117 traffickers, and discovered 31 trafficking businesses.
Yeah. Did you all hear that? 31 trafficking businesses. Businesses. Are you kidding?
And that means multiple people within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Goodness gracious.
Now,
Seeing another thing that sticks out with those numbers, 423 victims and 117 traffickers. If one trafficker is identified, this could save multiple victims just with one trafficker.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. Up next is Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Wow.
Baton Rouge, the second largest city in Louisiana, also has an incredibly high rate of human trafficking. Paula Jones, a writer for brproud.com. This is as much as I have read in front of an audience for a long time. Goes back to my days at Baser Linwood. According to a report from Louisiana's Department of Children and Family Services, in 2021, an estimated 759 people were victims of human trafficking in Louisiana, 530 of whom were children. The report went on to say that 692 of the victims were female, 63 were male, and 4 were not identified. That's kind of scary because I don't think
Don't put that on there.
any of the other states broke it. Well, maybe I have to go back and did anybody break it down as to the children? I mean, this is out of 759, 530 were children.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
18 or 18 and younger. Is 18
That's the legal age.
Is
Yeah, that's legal
17
age. Yeah.
and under.
I just didn't know if 18 was still considered juvenile or not.
No.
But yeah, out of 759, 530 were children.
Jesus. Oh,
Because it says the report went on to say that 692 victims were female, 63 were male, and 4 were not gender identified. Oh my goodness.
So
so much work to be done.
So 200. So out of 759, 530 were children and 229 were adults. So I mean, we're talking. Oh, that's just terrible. All of it's terrible, no matter what. But so the last is 2 states that are tied: Columbus, Ohio, and Richmond, Virginia. Columbus, Ohio, and Richmond, Virginia tied for the 10th on the list. There are good efforts being made in these cities to combat human trafficking. And once again, the phone number for the National Human Trafficking Hotline is 1-888-373-7888.
How many each got? Okay. Space it.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, and the website is humantrafficking.org. That is the website.
See, that is a lot of people. And knowing these numbers continue to climb, today's numbers are even higher than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, you just never know when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah. So I'm this is okay. So how many people have been playing around with the GTP, the AI thing that came out a couple weeks ago?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. It's a filter, isn't it? Or an app or something. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So you can basically ask it questions and it'll do anything. It'll write essays. It'll do.
Yeah.
I asked it signs that someone could become a victim of human trafficking. So I was asking it questions. So one of the questions I asked was how to help someone who may be a victim of trafficking. And this is what it wrote back. If you suspect someone is a victim of human trafficking, it is important to take action to help them. Here are some of the steps you can take. Number 1, contact a local hotline or National Human Trafficking Hotline. These organizations can provide immediate support and connect you with local resources to help the victim. The national hotline number is 1-888-373-7888. Number 2, provide a safe environment. Offer the person a safe place to stay and help them feel comfortable talking to you. Number 3, listen and support. Listen to the person without judgment and offer emotional support. Information. Try to gather information about the situation, such as the person's name, address, and contact information for their family. But do not confront the suspected trafficker. Number 5, get professional help. Connect the person with a local anti-trafficking organization, law enforcement, or trusted healthcare professional. Number 6, protect. Do not share information with the person's situation with others without their consent. It is important to remember that human trafficking is a complex issue and the victims may need long-term support to fully recover. By connecting them with the appropriate resources and providing support, you can help them begin to rebuild their lives. I asked, I said, how does human trafficking happen? And this is what it wrote back. Human trafficking is a serious global issue, and it occurs when people are recruited, transported, or transferred by the means of threat, use of force, or other forms of coercing for the purpose of exploitation. This exploitation can take many forms, including forced labor, sexual exploitation, and domestic servitude. Is a violation of basic human rights and is considered to be a modern form of slavery. Trafficking victims can be of any age, gender, or nationality and often occurs in the shadows with little attention from law enforcement and the public. So this was questions that I was asking, the Chat GTP AI program to give me answers. I wanted to see what it would come back with. And it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is.
So, it's a scary thing, and I am curious to do the homework starting this week in Arizona. And, I'm sure Dennis we'll talk about it, and we will definitely report back to you all and let you know statistically what has happened. Did it appear that something, did it appear that this was going on around the Super Bowl? Did we see an increase in missing people reported cases?
You have to be careful with that because, seriously, this is a very sensitive subject.
Well, yeah.
Absolutely. So, it's not like homework. These people are victims. These people are being abused and mentally, physically, the whole everything. So,
because you got to stop and think, if you have a loved one that goes missing, that's bad enough. And then you find out that they were trafficked. I think I don't know which is more heartbreaking, the fact that they went missing or the fact that they were trafficked.
Yeah.
See, that brings up like her Jessica Foster case.
Yeah,
she's missing out of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And her mom has been working tirelessly to combat human trafficking. Her mom does live in Canada.
How old was she when she disappeared? Like 18 or was she in her 20s?
She might have been, I believe, in her early 20s.
So yeah, that probably didn't help the situation, being as young as she was. So, but yeah.
We're pushing about a dozen cases right now where trafficking is a very high possibility.
All it takes is one person to make one report that could possibly shut down one whole ring. You just never know.
mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
It's hard. It's sometimes people that live in their life, it's hard to imagine how stupid of them. But literally, we're talking about people can just totally overcome you. They know what to do. They know what to do and how to overpower you. And, it's.
And see, Lisa made a good point. Unfortunately, some parents sell their children and wait to turn their kids in for a missing child.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's this is something that is growing big time, and I wish we could do more, But again, guys, if you see anything that is out of ordinary or just seems odd to you, contact, I guess, local police department or the trafficking awareness hotline. Bobby says parents have to wait 72 hours to report a missing child.
Actually, there's a lot
Yeah.
of states now that let you report them immediately.
Yeah.
A lot of states did do away with the 72-hour wait.
Yeah. So,
But there are still some states that you do have to wait, which is
that's horrible.
ridiculous.
I mean, my God, why wait? This is somebody's life.
Well, you know, and just to go back to the missing people stuff in general, missing people in general. You know, last year, Missouri's website, when I had glanced at it here and there, it wasn't like there was so many people going missing constantly. And, you know, I've done the first 3 weeks. I have 1 week left to, you know, basically I have last week to do now. Because I try to do the episodes at the first of the week sometimes, and I was busy this week doing stuff. But the last 3 weeks, I mean, it's been pretty heavy in Missouri. I'm talking 40 plus people every week that have been going missing. And Kansas has been between 30 to 40 something a week. But it seems like 2023 is, I mean, we're already, you know, let's just say we do 40 a week, you know, 160, you know, I mean, what's the numbers come out to be? I mean, we're going to be well over 1,000 and some people per state that's gone missing. You know, if it keeps up like it's going right now by December of 2023.
Mac had a good thing. He says, I still think Summer Wells was sold. I don't know why, but I'm like drawn to that. I think that, yeah.
Everything's definitely on the table still.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything else you want to talk about?
1,920.
Ooh.
Ooh, goodness.
And you know, I've discussed it and I made comments before if I did my math right, which maybe I didn't. You know, we got to look back in the past. You know, there was a time where, like in 1988 in Kansas, you know, Randy Leach was the only person that went missing in 1988. You know, quite a few years after it, there was only handfuls of people who went missing. And then it kind of the same thing, just, well, we got the same math.
I'm giving you a check mark. You did a good job.
She's checking my homework.
A+.
I had to do it the old school way because I was on my phone and I can't use my calculator on my phone. I'm using an actual pencil tonight.
Hey.
But you know, it still wasn't a tremendous amount of people that were going missing. But the last year and a half, basically since COVID really hit, it's just out of control, it seems like, in Kansas. And Missouri didn't seem really that, not trying to make it sound like it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like there wasn't a ton of people going missing constantly. And now it's just like it's out of control. You know, every week it's 35 to 40 people, you know, at this rate. We do have something that Dennis and we've talked about, and we actually talked about today. I did with Tammy. We did have somebody that requested a South Dakota report. And in this information, there's what they call an alarming rate of people that have gone missing. But some of these people that went missing have also reported UFO sightings and have reported seeing lights in the sky at night. So, as odd as it's, oh, sorry, I was like hearing this grinding noise, and I'm like, what in the heck is that? It's Taylor. But anyways, so basically, we've had this report of these people in South Dakota that have gone missing, but also some of these people have made seeing lights in the sky and stuff. And so I'm going to be looking into that. And this week I will do a report on the people who have gone missing in South Dakota in the month of January. And I'll do an update on that. And it's a UFO. What did I say?
Yeah, Denny and I looked at each other like, well, good one, Joanne. Okay.
See, and that one with the lights in the sky like that, that does concern me. Could this be helicopters, something like that, traffickers coming in, getting people?
But wouldn't you think someone would hear it coming?
They're out in the desert, so if it's out far enough.
Yeah, but if they're out far enough where people are and they're taking people.
But if they're doing it at night, I mean, a lot of times if I see a helicopter, I automatically think that it's a medical
life flight. Yeah.
Flight.
Well, here in Leavenworth, though, we've got we got Fort Riley, and they're always running their helicopters. So I don't even look up anymore. I can tell what it is and what they're doing. So mentality isn't active with. Well, we got Fort Leavenworth, but they don't do that. It's Fort Riley that does all the helicopters and stuff. So
I have an app on my phone that is a flight tracker app, and anything that seems odd or anything, I always jump on. I do this a lot with Jeff, and we've all done it together a few times.
Yeah.
Literally, I'll get on there and I'll look at helicopters, and I'll look. Yesterday, the whole thing with the balloon while it was going on. I was watching the military planes flying. I was watching everything. And then there's the same app that is for boats. So you can look at the boat in the. So I had another guy that I was talking to, but he's like, oh, you need to check it out. You need to see what kind of military boats they got underneath where them planes are flying. He goes, I guarantee they're going to shoot this thing down in the next 30 minutes. They've already got the boats there to recover it. And sure enough, exactly what they did.
Yep.
Exactly. But it's apps that are for you to use for free, and I know we're getting off on that subject, but if you see something in the sky and you're like, what the heck is that? You can jump on one of these apps and look, and I can tell you right now that every military plane that you see, more than not, they're not running with their transponders on and their radio. They're running silent, or they're running block, where all it shows up is block.
Yeah.
But that's one way of checking and looking at things that you might see and question. So, Bobby's got a comment. Alex drone he lost in the sky at night. Don't know how to retrieve it back. LOL.
I know not long ago, my little drone got away from me, and we found it several blocks over from us.
That was fun. Okay, guys, one more time, I want to throw that out in case you came on late and didn't hear us at the beginning. We do have an update on Joni Wilcox. She was found deceased. She disappeared November 8th, 2022. Let's see. She was last vicinity north of Washington High School area in Kansas City. She was wrapped in a brown blanket. She was in need of her medication, but unfortunately they did find her and they found her deceased. So
our thoughts and prayers continue to go to the
here family. Again, in case you're wondering, that is Joni.
This was
Yeah, I remember.
this was this
Yeah.
this was the lady who was walking up and down Leavenworth Road.
Yeah.
Yes.
This over by Washington High School.
Yep.
Area.
Yeah.
She had been seen in a couple different areas.
Yeah.
And like Dennis had reported, we don't know the details exactly, but she where she was found, the situation. We just know that it was reported that she was found deceased. So.
And it's a very sad thing.
Yeah.
I'd spoken with her sister a couple times, and it's a very sad case.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's not what I was hoping to hear tonight. So, yeah, I was pretty shocked when Megan read it to me because I thought, no, that can't be her. Yep, it's her. So.
And with that, I want to shout out Kansas Missing and Unsolved again. You can find them on YouTube. You can find them on Facebook. And they keep a lot of these cases
right.
out.
In fact, if I believe right, I think Megan said that's the website that posted it. So
yeah, they're the first ones that I saw come out with that update.
Yeah.
And we were able to confirm too. But those guys are also good about confirming their information before putting it out there.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, not the answer none of us want, but
right.
We can say her family can go to bed tonight, know where she's at.
And she's in a better place. So. Anyway, yeah. Smile, Tammy. It's not the end of the world.
Oh, my problem. I'm squinting to try to read the comments. Look, I'm just mad.
Well, we covered a lot tonight about trafficking. There's all sorts of trafficking, different age groups, genders. I mean, it's ridiculous. So again, if you guys notice anything that looks suspicious to you, call your local police department or wherever you may be, or the human trafficking hotline number.
Yeah.
And don't forget, tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m., going live again. This time, Dan will be joining, and we will be discussing the uptick in missing persons cases and discuss it with all of you and try to figure out what is the cause that we are getting such an uptick.
Yeah. Lisa said, remember, Tennessee is a main hub.
Yeah, I'm seeing where this
true.
is a huge, huge
That's a
problem,
whole nother ball game there, though. So anyway, you guys, Tammy, Alex, do you have anything else you want to talk about before we head off here?
Well, so if our audience has been watching the videos, we have found a car that we could use for Randy Lee case for research purposes. Actually, so Bobby Kennedy, our own catfish, he found this one. This car is it's not the exact car. The first one's not. The second one is. The first one is a 1987 Chrysler New Yorker. It is the same basic car, came down the same basic assembly line. It just has different front fascia emblems, but it is basically the same car. Probably pound for pound, statistic-wise, it's the same car. So I have talked with the owner. We have discussed a price for buying it. It is about an 8-hour drive for us to go get it. And then I had another gentleman reach out to me, and he does have the exact car. His car is probably it is an immaculate original car. He wants $5,000 for this car. It is I mean, even he said, I'll sell it to you. You want to destroy it?
Right.
I would hate to see you destroy it. He says, I just would hate to see you spend $5,000 on this nice of a car just to, in the end, to destroy it. But this car, I kid you not, on a scale of 1 to 10, this car is a 10. The only problem is it's blue. It's not the right color. But it is an immaculate 1985 Dodge 600. So, I'm going to try to make a decision here in the next week or so on what we're going to do. And because, the time is ticking. We are, how many weeks away are we right now? Are we, what are we?
Let's see, it's February, March, April. It's coming up.
Getting close.
He's looking at the calendar. Hold on.
Like 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah. 5 or 6 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, we have 5 or 6 weeks to get something bought. The Chrysler New Yorker car, it does run a fuel tank and a fuel pump. It'll dump gas down the carburetor according to the mechanic. But the actual owner of the car does not want any money. They just want it gone. And basically, we are at $700 to buy the Chrysler New Yorker car. Plus, our out-of-pocket cost of fuel to go get it, so on and so forth. But I explained the situation to him. I was crossing my fingers we'd get a donation for research purposes, but it didn't work out that way. Cold hard cash in the hand is what we'll take to get it home. So I'm gonna give it one more week and see if anything comes up, and if not, then we will probably end up using the Chrysler New Yorker car. And if nobody else saw the front of the car or the back of it, you would not know that it was a Chrysler New Yorker and not a Dodge 600 or the super rare Plymouth Caravel or Caravel version, which is extremely rare. And the Plymouth version is a 100% identical version to the Dodge. The front fascia, everything was the same. The Chrysler New Yorker had a different version. The Chrysler New Yorker was the upscale version of the other two cars. Kind of like a Cadillac compared to a regular GM product. That's what it comes down to. It's just the more expensive line, like the Lincoln and the Mercury was to the Ford. So, yeah, that's our update with that. If you hadn't watched my other update videos, once again, thanks to Catfish, our Bobby Kennedy for the lead on the Chrysler New Yorker. We greatly appreciate his help with us on that. So yeah, stay tuned. We will we'll have updates on that situation because we're definitely wanting to move forward on the research purposes. So
Okay. That's awesome. Anything else?
I don't have nothing.
All right. Call it night.
Work in the morning.
Yeah, fortunately.
she's writing me notes right now. I'm reading what she's saying.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
She's saying, Alex, you're taking Tammy out to dinner tomorrow night. Be home in time. Then she wants to go shopping.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right, guys. So that was a lot of information for tonight. So
That was a lot of reading.
Yeah.
That's the most I've ever done at the School of Muddy Waters.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead and close it out.
So, guys, don't forget tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Dan will be joining us. And with that, till next time, you guys stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.